This is Ferguson, Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we're checking out the weapons of the fantastic new entry into the James Bond franchise, 007 First Light.
Yeah, I found myself after playing for a while mentally ranking what firearm I would like thrown at my face from worst to least bad.
I see what you mean. You mean what would hurt less?
Oh yeah. If you're interested in how this ranked in my desire for it to be thrown at my face, low.
Yeah, I would put it low.
It just feels really cool to toss one gun, take the enemy's gun from them, rifle butt to the head, turn 180 and take another guy down. It's immensely satisfying. The game does a really good job at making you feel cool, which for a James Bond game, you gotta.
You can actually watch the extended edition of this episode on our Patreon right now, which includes an extra few spy gadgets from the Royal Armouries collection. Link in the description below for that. Be aware, there are some very minor spoilers ahead, but without further ado, it's over to Jonathan.
Hit 3 targets. Lucky shot. Something like that.
So a training segment, which is nice. That's a bit of a Jack Bauer Weaver stance that this chap's got there. The gun is interesting. So the only gun I know that's coloured like that, we have actually shown before. We have a Glock 17 training pistol with blue frame and blue slide inserts, actually. It's not just paint. They're like inserts in the slide so that it's permanently a training weapon and can't be confused for the real thing. Obviously, that would be a safety concern. I don't know if I'm guessing this is one of the Walthers. We'll get a better look at it later, I suspect. I don't know that Walther do a blue training gun that looks like that. Something for me to check up later. But Glock definitely do, and we do have one in the collection.
Yeah, First Light kicks off with you going through the 00 training, which is a nice touch to run you through the origins of this Bond. I love that, like, throwing the gun is an essential part of combat in this game.
Is it?
And yeah, because you'll run out of ammo and want to go into melee, so you throw the gun to stun your opponent.
Okay.
So you can either take their gun off them or start throwing some hands. But this gave me such an itch to rewatch the films. I went and watched Casino Royale after recording this gameplay, and it's like, oh yeah, of course. In the opening chase scene at the top, on top of the crane, the bomb maker throws his pistol at Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig catches it and whips it back into the guy's face.
That's right. Yeah, he was doing it before it was cool. I can see you've been quite drastically shot up with paint there. Very slow slide movement on the pistol, I noticed there. Slow and short, I would say, if I'm being critical, which is my job.
Again.
Bond's Q-Watch is obviously adept at hacking into people's phones and computers, which has got me thinking about my own internet security. Thankfully, today's episode is brought to you by Surfshark, which is an ideal solution for my online privacy and security woes. I obviously play a lot of games online, getting footage to show our experts, and Surfshark really helps me out when it comes to playing online in both a safe and secure environment. Not only does it offer protection against DDoS attacks, it allows me to hide my IP address in games and on apps like Discord, but it also allows me to matchmake worldwide. And that can honestly be quite helpful. There have been numerous times where I've tried to record footage in an old game with almost dead online lobbies and matchmaking restrictions, so this stuff comes in handy more than you might think. And as we now cover movies here on EXP, Surfshark has been super helpful in allowing us to access movies on streaming sites like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime Video that aren't available here in the UK. Use our link surfshark.com/EXPVPN. You can find that in the description below, or use code EXPVPN to get 4 months absolutely free. And if you change your mind, no worries, because they also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this episode, and now it's back to Bond.
Now we're talking.
The range is there whenever you need it. Blow off steam, get your eye in, whatever.
The service pistol is a very vague approximation of a Walther PPK. It's almost like a universe where MI6 really was obsessed with the PPK and wanted a modern, I dare say more high capacity from that view I've got here. Take on a PPK almost looks more like a SIG P230 or something in a way. Well, let's not just rely on my memory and assessment. Let's look at the real thing. Classic PPK, black grips, post-war model. This is a 380 ACP version, which is really the only PPK Bond could realistically use and has been using in the later movies. Either that or a PPK S with the PP frame, so longer frame, but with the PPK length slide and barrel. I'll be interested to see how this scales in Bond's hand, because when people first pick one of these up, they're surprised by how tiny it is. And this is with the extended base plate on the magazine. There is a flush magazine, and your little finger isn't even on there. There's a reason why it did persist for as long as it did. Perhaps the best concealed carry pistol of its era, long since eclipsed by modern subcompact or micro-compact pistols that are out there now, and really ought to be Bond's main weapon. But that's perhaps a different argument. And then we get into the details of the design a bit. So, I mean, it's got enough there to make you think PPK while being legally completely distinct from it, which I guess is the idea. Almost looks like we have an accessory rail at the front there, but almost not. Doesn't look like it could function as a rail. Almost just looks like visual difference. And these two parallel notches down the side of the slide are really quite strange. The PPK is from the 1930s. It's a very elegant design, kind of has that period design language to it. This doesn't really have that. It's a bit more brutalist in its design. Big, thick trigger guard without that sort of graceful curve. And actually the undercut that the PPK has to get your finger up and in control of the weapon. This thing just has what looks like it would be a very uncomfortable trigger guard front strap arrangement there. And some weird kind of greebly things going on. A couple of what look like almost like roll pins here and here. Doesn't have the external extractor of the PPK or PP. And then a weird kind of cutout and rivet looking thing in front of the rear sight there. I don't know what that is. There's a lot to, I hate this word, but unpack on this one. Looks really large in his hand. So yeah, that's much bigger in the hand than a PPK would be. So I think what they've done, so when they call it service pistol, they're not wrong. They have, or at least compact service pistol, they've scaled the PPK up to something that you actually might carry as a duty pistol. The trouble with this is, it's designed for police detectives as a concealed weapon. It's not meant to be a fighting pistol, never was. So it always jars for me in the Bond movies when it is kind of relied upon so heavily for protracted gunfights. You want more rounds than that, and you ideally want a bigger pistol. And this kind of is what this is. So I don't know if that's conscious or if they've kind of, don't know.
But it is like the concealment weapon as well. You can conceal a lot of pistols, but this is the one that you sort of sneak into places, or you keep on your hip when you're starting a mission. And then if you get bigger weapons, shotguns, rifles, you sort of have to dispose of those if you suddenly need to go covert again, because you've got nowhere on your body to hide them. So there is a conscious decision around what weapons can be hidden on James Bond, what weapons he needs to be like, well, I can't be seen carrying this thing around.
Okay. Yeah, if I could change one thing about this gun, I'd make it smaller.
How did you find the service pistol?
Short, compact, hits like a brick through a glass pane window.
Speaking of movie nods, do you remember the where that popped up?
I do, Dr. No.
Walter PPK, 7.65 mil with a delivery like a brick through a plate glass window.
That's right, when Bond gets his pistol from the armourer after giving up his Beretta.
Except the quote is a plate glass window, not a glass pane window.
A brick through a plate glass window.
Hits like a brick through a glass pane window.
And that wouldn't matter because this is a paraphrase, except that a glass pane, all glass windows have panes in them. This is not grammar expert react. However, it's a slightly redundant phrasing there, but we'll allow it. But it certainly has the silhouette. So, if we postulate a alternate kind of reality, which it kind of is by default, because this is clearly not the Bond that we know, none of the Bonds that we've known. They have a pistol of a similar form factor to the PP/PPK. It's not the same pistol. Doesn't have to be. I think the purist fans will wish it was a PPK, though. None of this detracts, by the way, from the very obviously cinematic gameplay the graphics, all of that. That should go without saying, really, with these videos. But
Cinematic is definitely what they're going for. The little like close combat with the pistols, where if you pull your weapon after a punch, you fire from the hip, sort of old school Bond style, like that flowing into then attacking another enemy, throwing your pistol to stun another enemy, blasting someone in the eye with your laser watch to blind them and close the distance, take their weapon, shoot them from close range. It all flows so very well. And I was talking about it to the rest of the EXP team this morning, and I will go on record saying that this is the best James Bond game there has ever been.
bold statement there.
There's really been no game that has made you feel as 007 as this one. It's got that right combination of sort of IO Interactive DNA, James Bond flavor. It all comes together to really give you the sort of interactive Bond adventure that I think people were hoping for from this, and it's fantastic. It might be one of the best games I've played this year. It's really good.
Excellent. That's all really good to hear. And yeah, so I should stress, I'm essentially here to be bad cop. I knew you'd been having fun with it, so it's good to hear that you got such a high opinion of it. And it does put into perspective my nerdy ramblings when ultimately none of that matters if everything else comes together. It can be the icing on the cake sometimes, but it's really not that necessary. I dare say, especially for third-person view as well, where you're not really getting up close and personal with the gun, so it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, the firearms are definitely secondary to everything else that James Bond can do, which I sort of feel like is accurate to the film franchise as well.
That's good. I mean, I much as I criticised Daniel Craig having drag out firefights with this thing, in the scheme of things, not so much. You know, it's usually because he has to, because something's gone wrong or he needs to do something else. And if there are big gunfights going on, you're doing using rifle or whatever. So that feels in keeping. The sort of retention position shooting, I guess we saw there that you mentioned.
Like the quick draw.
Yeah, shooting from the hip, essentially. Modern version of shooting from the hip. It looks more modern technique inspired. It's not the full-on classic arm out thing, but it feels like a nod to that, brought up to date.
Without going full center axis chest position as well, which I think could have been an easy trap to fall into that might not have felt very Bond.
Agreed. You're already going to be accused of Bond wick, aren't you? Just by having this type of game. So, no, I think that's good. And people have been wondering, I think, how the Hitman developers are going to cope with something that actually can be quite action heavy.
Yeah.
And that feels at odds with, Hitman fans will be expecting, well, hang on, it's stealth and it's coming up with creative ways to kill people. Well, this is something else, but there's how they've handled it, I guess.
If you're someone that prefers the action style of gameplay, you can still do that. It just means that you enter an area, let them see you, and they're like, hey, you're not allowed to be here. Put your hands up, fake surrender, they get close, judo chop.
Right.
Start fist fighting, and then it just escalates into a louder and louder firefight until reinforcements come, explosions start happening, the level starts changing, and then you get the nice escalation of action as well. So it blends very well, and it's very Bond.
So for action players, you just have to fail upwards, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, you can tell yourself you're failing on purpose because you want to do the cool punching and gun throwing.
Right, so next up is the same gun. But as we might have expected, this is something called the Gilded Wraith, which feels like a nod to GoldenEye 64 more than anything else, because I don't believe there's ever been a gold-plated Walther PP/PPK in the movies, has there?
I don't think so, no. There's obviously the golden gun, but...
Yeah, but then of course in GoldenEye 64, that was a nod of combining the two guns. Well, here is something similar. It's pretty fancy. It is in fact a PP. I don't know if you can tell that just from me holding it. Possibly not. But if we put them side by side, you'll see the traditional PP is noticeably longer and longer in the frame as well. Label gets in the way, but you get the idea. But yeah, we do have a gold-plated PP, which feels close enough. Oh dear. This is giving me uncanny Gun Valley vibes here. Oh, what's going on here? This is like an AK, but not. It looks like an AK combined with a Stormberg and appears to have a bit of EM2 stuck on it. You see the bit I mean?
I do, yeah.
The chamber which is on the EM2 is just a sheet metal cover over what is the chamber section of the barrel. That has to be a deliberate reference. Or they've seen it like the shape and decided to put it on their AK for whatever reason.
Have you noticed the other reference? The name?
No, I missed the name, cleverly.
Zukovsky-95 AR.
Ah, okay.
And Zukovsky, as in Valentir Dmitrovich Zukovsky from GoldenEye, that came out in the year that came out in 1995.
Walther PPK, 7.65 millimeter. Only 3 men I know use such a gun. I believe I've killed 2 of them.
And I was like, I recognize this name from somewhere. And I was like, there it is.
Yeah, a bit like the PPK. If you squinted, you wouldn't necessarily notice, but it is really radically different in detail. And this tells me, we've had this discussion a number of times, but it could be an Activision thing of you must make everything substantially different so that there's no issue in legal terms, or it could be a case of we aren't wedded to making our guns look accurate. We don't watch that British guy. It's fine. Just have some artistic license to kill, one might say.
That's very good, by the way.
I know.
I really liked that. That was very good.
Artistic license to kill my guns. Yeah. Could they because filling in the bit I didn't say is no one's going to care if you copy an AK 1-to-1 absolutely perfectly. No one's going to care. No one can sue you. No one can do anything about that. So my guess would be they've just gone, maybe a bit of column A and a bit of column B. If we allow artistic license, our artists can have fun and do something creative and different, and we can't get sued. It's something in that spectrum. But yeah, it's as an AK, it's pretty cursed, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that EM2 part, I can see what might have happened, that if an artist was building a mood board and they were looking at Cold War era weapons, sort of obscure weapons, I can see how that bit of visual detail could have easily landed here.
Yeah, I can see why the throwing the gun at people's faces doesn't get old.
Oh yeah, it's very good. There's a lot of fun.
I assume you can't do that till it's empty.
I think you might be able to. Yeah, you can. You can throw a full gun.
If you can throw a full gun, then there will be playthroughs of people only getting through the game by throwing guns at people.
It just feels really cool to toss one gun, take the enemy's gun from them, rifle butt to the head, turn 180 and take another guy down. It's immensely satisfying. The game does a really good job at making you feel cool, which for a James Bond game, you gotta.
Well, speaking of, the kick flip to get the rifle into his hands was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I found myself after playing for a while mentally ranking what firearm I would like thrown at my face from worst to least bad.
I thought that's a very specific fetish. I see what you mean. You mean what would hurt less?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Like the service pistol, I think I can walk that off. AK, nah. That's me booking the rest of the day off.
These things are heavier than they look. I mean, I will, in the interest of saying nice things about it, it definitely, in terms of its sort of punch and rate of fire and the role it fulfills, it's as AK as it needs to be, I suppose.
Cover me!
Ah, okay. Night 1 AR. That's a bit suggestive, isn't it? That's a bit near the knuckle, one might say.
Yeah. Well, considering I saw the Zukovsky reference, I was like, what other references can I think of? Obviously, there's the Knight's Armament rifle, but also the next Bond is being written by Stephen Knight. So I wondered if there was a nod there.
That's what the lawyers will say. No, in all seriousness, it's substantially different to this. I think because it's a British character in that context, made recently, and he has this sort of special forces adjacent role, and this thing, if you squint really hard, looks vaguely similar and has the name Night 1. Well, this is the KS1 for Night Stoner, it being the Eugene Stoner design and Reed Knight Jr.'s company and design of rifle based on the Stoner. And it's tan, but then lots of things are tan, lots of things have M-lock handguards. I've taken the suppressor off this to make it look more like the one in the game, but the receiver set on it. So this is really pretty standard insofar as the upper and lower receiver go, as far as its external design. They haven't gone for something faceted and chunky looking like the new Glock, for example. So I think they're probably referencing other ARs and AR derivatives. Mind you, there are a few details that make me swing back to this, like that trigger guard. I mean, yes, there are others like it, but all of those things together, even the CTR buttstock, which is on the L403 version of the KS1, this being a trials rifle for that program, for Project Hunter, looks like it does look like a really good mixture. That's the thing GoldenEye couldn't really do with the old slappy chop.
Yeah.
Is all of this.
And obviously we're not looking at all like the stealth parts where you're like sneaking into areas in this, which also work exceedingly well.
Yeah, this sort of one-man army stuff is a bit like Hitman, really. Not preferred, much like in reality. Not that there is, as far as we know, anyone quite like this in reality. Maybe something like the Special Reconnaissance Regiment or CIA Ground Branch, something like that. But the whole Bond archetype is kind of its own thing. Secret agent mixed with special operations forces. Ah, okay. This appears to be a different gun.
Yeah, the Osato 7. Do you recognize where Osato is from?
No, I don't think so.
Mr. Osato from Osato Chemicals and Engineering, Associate Inspector from You Only Live Twice.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen that. Probably 20 years.
It's not aged well, I'll say that much.
You must marry Amaga, one who is known on the island. Is she pretty? She has a face like a pig.
You only live twice, you only watch it once. Yeah, so this, I guess the 7 reference and just its general silhouette, like the very vintage car stock, this must be, I think, a nod to the M7.
That's what I thought. Well, it's got a lot of details similar to the previous rifle, but it's implied to be more powerful. It's got a bigger but a lower capacity magazine, and does take fewer shots to take down an enemy.
It's like if the SIG M7 or Spear was a bigger version of the 9, or if the two companies were combined and they were producing stuff from the same range. That's kind of what it's like. Although it has would have a different name if it's a different model, but it definitely has that very tall handguard and upper receiver of the SIG, and that slow rate of fire. I mean, the real M7 isn't very slow. I did get to shoot a burst out of that. It's still fairly fast.
Gunfire on top of us.
Stormberg 50 cal, eh? That's another slightly cursed combination of a Desert Eagle and a Grizzly, I would say.
It's weird, isn't it? And as far as I can tell, I think it's a reference to Carl Stromberg, who was villain in The Spy Who Loved Me.
You're deluded, Mr. Bond.
Is this another glass pane window mistake?
I think Storm just sounds cooler for a Desert Eagle, like.
Yeah, it probably is. Oh, the barrel. As soon as I saw that red barrel, I thought, that's it.
If you're interested in how this ranked in my desire for it to be thrown at my face, low.
Yeah, I would say low. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't like either an LAR Grizzly or a Desert Eagle to the chops. He's really... There ought to be a training range section where you're doing nothing but throwing guns at targets, because this guy is the master of it. It's like almost underhand, like skipping a rock.
It being more narrow across the top and wider at the bottom, so it was sort of giving me like Chiappa Rhino nods as well.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it could be that actually. Yeah.
This one was very fun to use in close combat and doing the sort of quick draw hip fire, because it would drop people in a couple of shots.
Oh god, I've just seen a modernized MP5 on the table.
So this level takes place in like a massive arms bazaar, basically. And this young entrepreneur selling ice cream and guns at the same shop.
I was just gonna say, and ice cream.
Someone take that idea and run, because the money on the table.
Maybe next year's SHOT Show will suddenly start featuring ice cream. It's a bad time of year in Vegas to be selling ice cream, though.
Well, in that case, get down there, draw their fire. I'll thank them. We need to keep that plane on the ground.
So this is some sort of Walther service pistol. I'm guessing this is what I saw earlier, but in blue.
Yes.
And it kind of looks like a P99 or that family.
Yeah, I was getting P99, PDP.
PPQ, PDP. Well, I don't think we've shown our PDP. This is the most modern Walther pistol we have, complete with optic cut. It's nice. So I would guess it's their version of this, but this is quite a distinctive, or relatively speaking, distinctive design. So they probably don't want to stray too close.
What sold it for me is the HUD icon. I was trying to capture glimpses of it in the gameplay, but the HUD icon, the rear of the weapon, looks very similar to the one you have.
The profile of the trigger guard as well, I think, is pretty close. It's almost like a stretched Glock trigger guard, which kind of explains why my brain went Glock when I saw the blue one, along with the blue bits. But yeah, I've yet to shoot the PDP, but I'm sure it's improved over the P99. I just like the classic look of what's now, the classic look of the P99, and obviously going back to Brosnan movies. So if you were giving Bond a fighting pistol, and you wanted that Walther heritage from the movies, this would be the one to give him.
That's our man. He's killing everyone.
Another very short folding foregrip shotgun. Yeah, we don't really have anything comparable to this, and it's super generic. I couldn't even say which prominent company's pump action shotgun that's based on.
Mixing it together with close quarters fighting, though, it was one of the most fun just because of the damage profile of a shotgun in video games. Just absolutely flattening guys in the laundry room.
These heavily armored guys, I assume they are more resistant to a bit of shooting.
Oh yeah, and a bit of punching.
And a bit of punching, yeah.
Yeah, big time. You'll either have to, if you're going for a headshot, you'll need to knock the helmet off or punch it off.
Of course, that is a major gameplay conceit, because shooting people's helmets off is not really a thing. Well, it is, but they tend to be quite dead when that happens. There is such a thing as a chin strap on helmets. I haven't commented on sound really. The sound effects do sound good.
Yeah, sound and visuals are fantastic in this.
That's a very, like, if you just played me that, I'd know it was a shotgun for sure. That might sound like a low bar, but actually, there's plenty of games drop the ball on the boom of a shotgun.
Bolt action custom barrel. That thing punches through armor like it's paper. If you're after something with more kick, you'll need to hit the auction.
There's something funky going on there.
California compliance got to Q Labs.
Yeah, that's not the funky thing I'm getting at. It's the cocking handle clipping through the receiver.
Yeah, I think that's just on this piece of art, interestingly, because it seems to be fine in the game.
Also, that awful tiny ACOG is not a good choice for this sort of weapon. I have definitely seen that type of stock as well.
I wonder if they're like taking bits and pieces from other sniper rifles that have been in James Bond, because the stock, at least where the rest is and like the cheek rest is a bit Accuracy International. And then that supporting bar at the front is a bit WA2000, and that's Die Another Day and The Living Daylights. So I wonder if like a chunk of the mood board was just like, what guns have been in Bond?
It might be, yeah. When they're this far removed from the real thing, anything goes. What it made me think of, and I can't really point to anything other than a vague impression, is the Q-Fit bolt action. Now that doesn't have that weird stock, as far as I know. But in terms of its sort of compact nature, bolt action, modern tactical look, yeah, I know what you're saying about the vaguely Walther sort of WA2000 open front end bit. Bugging me slightly, there might be something out there that this is closer to than I'm missing. But yeah, the tiny little scope is a bit weird. It's also a bit reminiscent of the FN Ballista, which is another modern take on a chassis style bolt action rifle. I guess the small scope is because even the sniper rifle doesn't get a scope view per se.
Yeah, you don't get to aim down sights.
I guess if it had a traditional sniper scope on there, 12 or 20 power or something, well, it wouldn't necessarily suit the environments, and you'd also kind of have that expectation confounded of, oh, I'm going to be getting a scope view, and you don't. I don't know. I'm just trying to second guess why they would put this tiny little caricature of an ACOG on there.
You know what? I think we've massively overthought it. It's I'm like looking up stuff as we speak. It's got a striking resemblance to the Jaeger 7 sniper rifle from the Hitman franchise. I think they're referencing their own.
Oh, okay.
Sniper rifle here. Like we'll throw up some side by sides, but it's very similar to that.
Interesting. Do we think that they've just taken it wholesale and upgraded?
No, there is a departure. There are some differences in the stock specifically, but yeah, they're definitely referring to that. What that is then originally referring to? Who knows?
Probably not much. Most of the Hitman guns are fairly abstract from memory. Now, yet another legally different Chris Vector. I'm going to say legally different, even though when I say legally different, I'm not saying it's definitely for legal reasons. As I say, it's almost certainly not all that or not that at all. Don't know. But clearly that's a Vector. Now, one of the more distinctive firearms ever invented, I think it's safe to say.
They're leaning on some of their own video game gun library here as well. The ICA SMG Raptor has a lot of similarities to this. So I think this is another nod to IO's heritage rather than Bond's heritage. So we get a mixture of both across the firearms.
Well, again, it looks enough like the real thing for 90% of people to not even think about it. But is its own thing? It might just about have enough real estate in here to actually function as well. I'm not sure. It's a bit skinny, but it's not quite COD skinny. For me, Hitman's its own universe, established over a whole series of games. Do what you like with the guns. I'm less tolerant of that when you're doing a franchise like this, where whether it's the books or the movies, they show you real guns that look like real guns. So why can't we have that in the game as well? That's just me as a sort of fairly casual Bond fan, and I guess in the scheme of things, a casual gamer as well. Yeah, I prefer that they were one-to-one, but that's me. That's why I'm here doing what I do.
In fact, the more I look into Hitman, the more I see visual cues from that series in these guns, even down to the AK.
Oh, really? Maybe it's their way of telling us that they actually take place in the same universe.
Imagine what a crossover that'd be. What couldn't Agent 47 and 007 do together?
You're assuming they're not against each other.
Who would win? Answers in the comments.
Like AVP.
Whoever wins, we lose.
You lose. So it appears to me that this Squire is meant to be from the same maker as the Not KS1 and the Not Big Spear.
Yeah, it seems like it's from the same manufacturer, doesn't it? And, Knight Squire connection from the Knight rifle.
I didn't quite make that make sense in my head, but I'm there now. Although, surely that's the other way around. This is the bigger, presumably more powerful rifle.
Yeah, but then what is a Knight without a Squire? And he's usually far away.
Yeah. I will say his hold on that rifle isn't great. It's not something I've paid too much attention to thus far, and this is very much the wrong gun to do it with, but it feels like he's holding it off his shoulder and it's recoiling without and then hitting his shoulder. Like it's a very loose hold. Doesn't seem super professional.
I am sort of glad they didn't give you any option to aim down the sights or through an optic, even with sniper rifles. I think it makes the firearms feel more connected to like the flow of melee combat instead of taking you out of the world that you're experiencing and putting you in that scope view. I think that'd be a detriment to the pace and the flow of the rest of the game.
Makes sense to me.
The length of the weapon almost felt like it made it difficult to use in melee. Like I had to wait for them to stumble a bit further away. I don't know if that was just accidental inaccuracy or something you have to consider when using a longer rifle like this. But it did make it feel like it was much more useful at a distance rather than something you can tie into the hand-to-hand.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would be more awkward to use generally close up. I like the fact it has a bipod on it. You can't use.
Yeah, that's just something else to add weight when you whip it at someone's face.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Like the Forged in Fire thing, isn't it? Will it cut? Will it kill? Will it kill when thrown through the air?
He busted the door!
No, very good. Looks kind of like what I expected, in a good way.
Yeah, they've definitely delivered on everything I expected from an IO Interactive James Bond game. They've absolutely nailed. And if you are a James Bond fan, I think this is like a must play. It's so good. And like I said, I think it is the best James Bond game there has ever been.
I'll say it again, bold statement, but I can see where you're coming from. I mean, it's about time that something dethroned. I mean, I'll say GoldenEye. It's really the only one I played, but for its time, it was pretty incredible. And this is looking pretty incredible as well, I have to say. Might just get me back into the old James Bond thing.
Thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comment section below what other games, movies, TV shows or beyond you would like to see on the show. Check out the links in the description for the extended edition and to check out all the work from Jonathan and the Royal Armouries. I want to give a shout out to all of our wonderful supporters over on Patreon, without whom we simply couldn't make this content. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Can't keep up this pressure forever.